if I did something like that, I might be on the notice people. Now, I do like this side.
Yes, yes, you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB. We are moving and grooving, firing them up. State of the Union was last night. We're going to talk about it. We are streaming on Rumble, and we are streaming on X, and we are streaming on YouTube. Yep. And we are even streaming at the the WYAB.com mothership. So if you can't pick up us on our 50,000 watt blowtorch, feel free to listen on the stream. We appreciate it. Number, if you want to talk about the State of Union today, 601 879 0002. Text line is open at 601 879 5060. Texts are already coming in. Some of them are pretty funny, some of them are pretty serious. And, that's what makes this show so great is that even though we have certain topics that we got to hit, there are some other topics out there that we might get to. I might even lead off the show with it. But the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? You all are the saints. And, it's just, you think about America today, and like when I was back in Illinois, how everything just looked so run down, so barren, so desolate. The land just isn't looking like it used to be. Our cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, they're all burning down, fires out of control. And as for our farms, did you hear the last hour show, Mike Mattis show, talking about how Maha is going down? I would say that our food system is in serious need of an overhaul. And, I'm grateful and thankful that we get all of our meat from locally produced food sources right here in Mississippi, whether it be chicken, turkey, lamb, beef, oinker. Yep, we all get them locally. But as for your fields, strangers are devouring in front of you. And we are, we talked about that, how Sun Tzu would be absolutely amazed how we are funding the civil uprising inside of our country. And, that's just Isaiah 1:7. Your land is destitute, your cities are burned with fire. As for your fields, strangers are devouring them in front of you. It's desolation as overthrown by strangers. And did you see Elon Omar last night in the State of the Union? How about Rashida Tlaib? They got screenshots. That's the thing about politics that is unfortunately changing the American culture. Before, pictures, unflattering ones, not even ones that you wouldn't necessarily want, but they would sit there and they would always put a picture of you that was at least somewhat reasonable. Now on social media, you've got AI, you've got trolls out there who are just looking for that one moment. They're looking for that 1 second where they can get you in an uncompromising look. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're yawning. There was one of me where I was stretching, and they literally used the picture of me stretching in the paper. I'm like, "What the heck is going on here?" So we're not gonna play that game. We're not gonna play it at all, and we're gonna kinda go to a different news source to start this off. If you do wanna talk about the State of the Union address, I'd love to hear it from you. But, this show has always brought to you different stuff that I find interesting. And I don't wanna be like every other talk show out there where it's all State of the Union. Today it's gonna be all State of the Union. And there were some great points from the State of the Union, but where I wanna start is no other than TMZ, ladies and gentlemen. Tango Mike Zulu. Yep, and just be careful because some of those ads, you're 2 clicks and 1 tap away from going down a road you don't wanna go. But listen to this. Don Lemon is being sued over Minnesota church protest. Not only has he got criminal, but now he got a civil case against him. A woman who claims to have been attending the church service at the Minnesota church protest covered by Don Lemon. No, it wasn't covered. He was an active rioter and protester, TMZ. Get it straight, you. Is now being sued, and other protesters as well, saying she suffered from severe emotional distress as a result of the incident. Leftist playbook being turned back against her. In court, documents obtained by TMZ and Doucette, when you file a lawsuit and you don't get your name sealed, it's out there, so we're not doxing anybody, claims she was attending a worship service at the city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota on January 18th, where she alleges Don Lemon and others unlawfully interfered with her ability to freely exercise her religion in a private place of worship. She's got a point. So and the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to talk about the State of the Union address, but have you been manipulated by the media? Because I haven't watched any of the CNN or MS Now or BS Always or any of that stuff. I've got raw clips. I listen to it. I've got my own opinions on it. I want to get those out, but I feel like I always need to show the media side of it. And this is the very next quote from TMZ. Remember, the demonstration was held in the wake of the woman who was shot for driving her car into a police officer. I'm not even going to say her name. In the wake of someone's death. And there was meant to confront the city's church pastor, David Easterwood, who is a Minneapolis ICE official. So it's okay to go ahead and interfere with someone's First Amendment right as long as you're protesting ICE. Think about it. Where is our country descended to? That's from TMZ. I didn't see it anywhere else, but it popped up and I was like, "That's awesome." Anyways, let's get to what everybody is hopefully here to talk about, and that is the State of the Union address. And, the very first thing, so I opened up State of the Union address, and who gets pops up in my timeline? Is it Donald Trump? No. Is it the Supreme Court justices? No. Is it a picture of the Capitol? No. JD Vance and Speaker Johnson? No. It's cruise control. And cruise control kinda takes it right where I wanna start the show today.
How do you not stand? How do you not stand? Watching the State of the Union, I'm not even shocked anymore. Simple question. Who stands for protecting the American people and enforcing the laws of this country?
Did you all see that? None of the Democrats sitting down sourpussed, just faces of anger and rage and silence. I have to say, my first thoughts on the State of the Union is that Trump delivered a pretty good speech. He did go off the time a little bit. He goes down his rabbit holes. Look, he's a showman, and a statesman, and that's how he's gonna deliver his State of the Union address. But he put in I mean, the Democrats should have been briefed for this, and they should have known better, and they didn't. Th but nope, when they were asked to stand to support the American people, not the illegal immigrants, not even the immigrants, but the American people, did they stand? Nope, and this guy just continues to knock it out of the park.
Half the room seated. Guess which side? What, 2 or 3 stood up? I'm sorry, but protecting your own citizens should not be controversial. Securing borders should not require a PR team. Enforcing laws already on the books should not be radical.
But look at where we are in America today. Look at where we are in Mississippi today. We're in a place where things like free speech, immigration enforcement, those are all controversial issues. Don't say ICE in Northern Illinois right now. You'll have fat, overweight Call of Duty warriors from Lake Zurich High School trying to come and punch you in the face, and then their teachers will congratulate them for it. We are so corrupted. Our brains are such mush. We can't think for ourselves. We gotta run to Grok or ChatGPT or whatever. Andy, do you run to Grok? No. I have my own opinions. I do use Grok to do research and analysis. I put documents into Grok, kind of getting into a TTP Tuesday, but I put documents into Grok and I say, analyze this, find me this. What about this? And what would have taken me hours back in 2016 now takes about a minute and a half. It's kind of cool if you use AI the right way, but I digress. These Democrats couldn't even stand up to cheer America.
When the question is framed around protecting the people who are already here, taxpayers, families, veterans, small businesses, and you can't even symbolically stand, that says something. Doesn't mean you hate immigrants, doesn't mean you lack compassion. It means you've chosen a political position over a unifying moment.
And that is where America is today in 2026, ladies and gentlemen. It's no longer about family. It's certainly not about God. It's not about your friends. It's about where do you stand politically. My family personally, we do okay, but there's a couple that are really deeply touched with the woke mind virus. I'll put it sweetly. It's hard to communicate because that's all that's on their mind. It's all they think about. Is that you, but on the right? I have to be truthful. This is the first State of the Union in a long time where I wasn't exactly fired up to go watch it. And, maybe it's because I couldn't go to a watch party. Maybe it was because I couldn't get out to hang out with some friends. So I just listened to it. But the one thing that is certain is that this America is clearly divided. And the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, did a masterclass of a job showing the divide in between the left and the right. So today's show isn't going to be about those of you who are hard on the left or those of you who are hard on the right. It's going to be about those of you in the middle. Did the president say enough to get you back into the political arena? Not necessarily you're going to go out and campaign for school board tomorrow, but are you going to vote in the midterm elections? The primary election is March 10th. Still time to be election judge in Hinds County. We'd love to help you out, get you hooked up. Definitely need that. And speaking of the State of the Union address, how about our man, Benny Thompson? Where was Benny Thompson? I'll tell you where he was. He wasn't at the State of the Union address, so he couldn't stand up to cheer America. He couldn't stand up to even protest the president if he so chose. Dereliction of duty. Dereliction of duty. And this hurts Jackson. This hurts everybody in the 2nd Congressional District by not showing up. By not representing your people. I mean, say what you want about Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Those weirdos showed up. Man, I could tell you as an elected politician, when you are going into the lion's den, granted, I wasn't that high up, but I had to go into some meetings where I knew I was going to be viciously attacked. And my opponents came up and shook my hand beforehand and was making nice. And I knew better, but it's still, you go, you do that. You are the duly elected representative or official or whatever you want to call yourself out as. You don't just sit there and blow that off. You go to that event. And especially a State of the Union address. My goodness. What an opportunity. It just goes to show you how divided not just the country is, not just how much Mississippi is, but right here locally. Benny Thompson has a primary challenge. And the sweet bee and I watched some of those commercials of Benny's opponent. And I don't know his name, so I'm not going to say it. But if I go back and decide to do some compare and contrast commercials, I'll do that. I got to be careful here because the FCC equal time rule, the Fairness Act, which we were so much against, is now in play. So you got to be careful about that. But Benny's got an opponent. And wouldn't it be something if he actually had a real competitive race? I'll be interested to see what the 2nd Congressional District does. They've been promised stuff from Benny since 1993, I think it was. He's been in there a long time. So much has changed, and yet everything's the same. Those are my initial takes from the State of the Union address. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our first commercial break. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show, moving and grooving. State of the Union address was last night. Many pontificators are complaining about how long the speech was. Like I told everybody, full disclosure, I listened to it. I didn't watch it. And I listened to it at 1.25 to 1.5 speed because that was a long address, everybody. I had a professor back in college, Pastor E. Ray Cox. He would always say, Mr. Gosser, stand up, be brief, and be seated. And when I found out as I was going through political life and officer life too, to be able to, the ability to be succinct is pretty good. Look, this guy we were listening to, Cruise Control, he is on X, and I'm going to retweet it here. It's just at CRWSCNTRL, and it's definitely worth the listen. And he's got a lot of hot takes. Now he does have some language in there, so be mindful of that. But yeah, good dude overall. Let's see here. Oh, next thing I want to talk about, because this all kind of ties in together, is did you see JD Vance and Speaker Mike Johnson during that speech? They were much more animated than his address of Congress last year. Smiling a lot more, serious when need to be, but much more animated than Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi ever were. We didn't have that resting face behind the president back in the early late 2019, 2018. Didn't have ripping up the copy of the speech. And it makes me want to ask you this question as we listen to this. Who do you trust more? Kamala Harris on the border? JD Vance rooting out the fraud? You tell me.
When it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the
$19 billion. Congressman Thompson, where were you on that? Are you for the pillaging of $19 billion? What could $19 billion do to the state of Mississippi? What could $19 billion do to the infrastructure of the state, whether that be the power lines in northern Mississippi, which are finally getting back to normal after a historic ice storm? What could that do to the water in Jackson, Mississippi? And I know what a lot of you are saying. How about nothing at all? Let the locals figure it out. It's their mess. It's not the federal government's mess. And I agree with that statement to a certain extent. But the money that's been funneled out of the United States of America through the fraud of Elon Omar, Rashid Tlaib, and others in the squad, and quite frankly, mostly Democrats, but a few Republicans are going to come out in the wash. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that.
The American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information.
And I love how Elon Omar starts yelling and complaining. It almost looked like she was going to cry in one of the pictures. And I'm sitting there looking at this going, how is this woman even a U.S. representative? Fraud. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
In actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe.
President Trump is right. There's plenty of historical documents I can go to, and everybody knows I have a biblical worldview, but I won't go to that. I'll go to Greece. I'll go to Rome. I'll go to Spain. I'll go to England. As the corruption and graft grew in those governments, they started declining. It wasn't the thing that put them over the edge. but it certainly expedited the situation greatly. We need to have those people be held to account. The mayor of Minnesota, or the governor of Minnesota, the mayor of Minneapolis, and the mayor of St. Paul, the attorney general of Minnesota. They all need to be held to account. And I think that's where you're gonna get a lot of Republicans stepping off the reservation, because our belief right now in law enforcement, I'm just being truthful. I'm not hating on police officers. I know you do a good job, but the people who are supposed to prosecute all the hard work that you do is being dropped.
So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President J.D. Vance.
And you're going to hear a bunch of applause here. Let's just think about the wars that we've had. The war in Iraq, one or two, take your pick. The global war on terror, the war on drugs. I don't necessarily want war. I know we're humans, so we're a combative creature, and we're going to fight. And you don't run away from a fight. You fight the fight, because if you don't, you end up getting bullied. Just look at Europe today. Just look at Europe in World War II. They didn't want to fight then. They didn't want to fight then. They didn't want to fight now. And they're paying for it. And this is the picture where Ilhan Omar, everybody's cheering. And the liberal women, they're just angry. There's no other way to say it. They're just angry. And they look so concerned. And then there's that transgender man there sitting there too.
He'll get it done.
Yep. By the way, that was about 22 seconds of applause that I skipped over. Everybody wants JD to do that. When JD was in Minnesota, we all loved him. Man, I think he'd make a great president. But now we've got something to hold him accountable. Those of us who, because you on the left, I know you're listening, because you text me and you let me know you're listening. So I'm not expecting you to vote for JD. But those of you in the middle, I'm curious to hear what you have to think about JD. I personally like him. I think he's going to do a great job. Whether or not he uncovers all this fraud, I don't know. Maybe it's all a distraction, but yet I digress.
And if we're able to find enough of that fraud, we will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about.
And that is why so many of us on the right and in the middle are ticked off. Our debt is so big. Our debt is so big that we're paying half of our taxes to service the debt. It's ridiculous. And who got us in this mess? The politicians, the people making the deals in the back room. We're all sitting there paying for it now. And it's like, it's incredible. The text line is blowing up. But I'm telling you this, the debt is going to crush our kids, our Zoomers, whatever generation comes after the Zoomers when they start having kids. If we don't get this corrected now, I'm not sure we can get it corrected. But to me, it's just another example of how our government is so broken over the past 4 years that we've just allowed the inmates to run the asylum. Let's finish up what President Trump has to say on JD.
We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA, and it is the American people who pay.
He's right. And of course, they have all the liberal Democrats sitting there shaking their heads saying, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm sure that almost everybody in the sound of my voice has never gotten a chance to experience the Somali culture. It's brutal. Go to Eastern Africa. Go to Mombasa, Kenya. Go to Somalia. Go to those countries up and down the coast there. When they say Somali pirates for a reason, it's not that they're making this stuff up. There's real world piracy going on out there. You can read Rob O'Neill's book. He's got a whole chapter on it. Navy SEALs had to go rescue a captain. They made a movie about it. This is real world stuff, and we're importing those people into our country, and we're not expecting anything bad to happen. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
Hello.
Hey, we're in a commercial break. Can you hang on a sec?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Hey.
Hi, I'll be right back.
Okay.
You and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
Vans Comics, Cards, and Games is your local sports cards and memorabilia store. Plus Pokemon, board games, comics, and more. Get the game, make your screen, and own it at Vans Comics, Cards, and Games. They're Orchard Road in Ridgeland and at vanscpg.com. Better ingredients, better people, with a better website. Papa John's and papajohns.com. Do not get these tax experience. Save more with Papa Rewards and all the best deals. Order today and enjoy the new specials and Papa's pairings at papajohns.com and at locations throughout the metro.
Got electrical problems? Marty Cowden and Cowden Electric are here for you. Cowden Electric is your trusted electrician, serving the Jackson area for 3 decades. Electrical repair, service, and home rewiring are just the start of what Cowden Electric can do. Cowden Electric also installs generators to keep your power flowing.
Come on, buddy. Come on, man. Come here, buddy. Hey. Hey. Hey, man. Come on, man. Come on. Hello?
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, can you turn down your
I
radio just
wanted
a
to
little
tell
bit?
you, Andy, I sadly I missed the first part of the program last night. I thought it came on at 9, so I was late getting on. But I would like to make a comment. I think it was wonderful. It was the best. And in my age, I've seen a lot of these things. That's the best one I think I've ever seen. And I was extremely, extremely proud of that hockey team from the United States. Those boys, you could look at their face and tell they were so proud to be Americans. They were proud of their country. They were proud of their president. They were so proud of being there and enjoying where they were. And I don't know I can't say enough about them. Now the girls, I can't say I was proud of them at all. They were, when I heard they wasn't coming yesterday, I thought something is wrong here. I think someone told them all, hey, you don't go to this. I know some of those young ladies would have probably loved to have gone to see that inaugural address.
Now,
and they didn't do it because they were told not to. But
you do know they're going to the White House, right?
Huh?
You do know that the girls' hockey team's going to the White House, right?
They are. I didn't understand you. You said they are or they're not.
Yes, according to President Trump, the ladies' hockey team is going to the White House to have a Oval Office ceremony kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
But I was kind of disappointed they didn't show up last night.
Me too.
When they were invited to that. And you could tell those boys. I know Matthew Bishop and I talked about it yesterday when he was talking about it. But I don't know. And this goes for any of these other little, I'm going to call them twerps, that get on there and they have bad-mouthed the United States. They have won gold medals, and they have talked about our country and our president so badly. And if you don't like it here, just stay away. You didn't have to go. You didn't have to go and be a gold medal winner. If you don't like our country, that's my feelings about it. I'm not going to keep you anymore, but I just wanted to tell you, I thought it was, I wish I could have heard the first of it, but I didn't get a chance to hear it.
I've got a question for you.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. I do have a question for you, though, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Of the spots in the speech that you did get to see, besides the hockey team, which was epic, what was your big pull point, or what was the best thing that you heard President Trump say that you really liked about the speech?
About the game, about the everything last night.
Yep. Like what policy did you like that Trump talked about that was really good, that you could get behind, that kind of got you fired up, getting ready to go into the midterm elections?
Well, I think it's honoring all of the parents of these young people that got murdered by all of these illegals that are in here, and how sad that to me couldn't be anything worse than having your child murdered by one of these people that Biden was responsible. Yep. He let them all come in here. I think it's his fault, him and some of these other people. But that is what really got me. I know how I would feel if one of my children was murdered by one of these illegals that's in here and nothing is done about it. And also the way people treat ICE, letting these illegals they're here. Yep. Just let them here. They're right, and their rights come over the American citizens. That's what kind of gets me real, really fired up. But he had so many things that I do agree with. And of course, with me, I think he's a great president.
Yep. I
very, very much so. This country would be gone if he was not in there. I'm sure there's a lot of people that's sitting there. Oh, man, that old woman's crazy. Well, that's their opinion. Yep. I've seen a lot of presidents come and go because I've seen be 81 years old. I've seen a lot of them come and go. But he's by far, I can't describe him. I think he's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to let you go and talk to some of your other guests and everything, but I just wanted to make that comment. I'm so proud of those those boys on that hockey team and their faces last night. You could tell they are so proud to be Americans. And that's my feelings. All right, you keep up the good work. I love you, and you are doing such a great job on your show. You have come a long, long way.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
You are. And I love hearing about your family and all your children and everything. You're a fine, fine man. All right, talk to you later.
Take care, ma'am. Thank you for the
Okay.
call. Bye-bye.
Oh.
You could tell what was on her mind. So if I had to synthesize her call, what I would say is that is a very patriotic woman who loves her country, who has seen it through some of the highest highs and is currently experiencing it in one of the lowest lows. And the fact that the hockey team made her really amped up, it touches me because I can remember, and we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but when the 1980 Lake Placid, New York Olympics went down, and we beat the Russians. It wasn't even in the gold medal game. People don't realize that wasn't the gold medal game. That was the semifinals. That was the bronze medal consolation play-in game. And we were sitting there, and I was in Maryville, Indiana, sitting on this uncomfortable and ungodly green couch. Oh, it was horrible. And my nana and grandpa were there. My aunt and uncle were there. My mom was there. My dad wasn't there. My sisters were there, my cousins were there, and the chants of USA, USA. Um, the last time I heard a really good USA chant was when SpaceX launched their first crewed vehicle, and people were sitting there getting all emotional, and you could see it in their faces, like, "What is this?" There's just something about the patriotism in America that is just a whole new level, and we got to experience a little bit of that last night. And I'm grateful for the caller because sometimes things happen and we are so focused on what we wanna focus on that we miss some of the other things. I wasn't even gonna bring up the hockey team tonight. It was cool that they were there, and I definitely support them, and it did come up in my newsfeed that the women said that they weren't gonna go, but now the president, during the State of the Union address, did say that the women were gonna show up at the White House. So, I'm excited for that. I also think and we're not even gonna begin to talk about the illegal immigration portion of that because that is a much deeper issue than time for allots right now. It the immigration issue is tearing not just America apart or states apart, it's tearing families apart. We've seen some of these videos of these Zoomers with kids, pink hair, butch, worried about their dad and mom voting for Trump and then getting kicked out of their house because can't handle it anymore. These self-entitled brats. What are we raising? What are we doing? And I would like to see like a pool of these young kids watching the State of the Union, not because I want to torture them or do that, but it is a science experiment to see how they react, to watch their like blood pressure, to watch their perspiration, to sit there and see how they react to President Trump in a group, but also by themselves privately. I think you'd need a control group like that there. We could do a science experiment. I know a scientist or two. Maybe we can make that happen. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB. We will be right back. Yeah, we are back on 103.9 WYAB, and we are moving and grooving on the Andrew Gosser Show. And speaking of Democrats behaving badly, besides Benny Thompson not showing up to the State of the Union address, you know who did show up? Retired U.S. Navy Captain Mark Kelly showed up and sat down the whole time. And guess who didn't stand up when they said to defend Americans? Guess who sat his butt on his seat and scowled and frowned and was throwing a little temper tantrum like a 2-year-old? This guy was fighter wing in the United States Navy. So if you don't know what fighter wing is, that is the commander of the all the F-14 squadrons. He had his name plastered on all the jets. He was a U.S. astronaut. His twin brother is also a U.S. astronaut. And he, just for me as a veteran, I'm going to stand up to defend the American people every time, even if it's my commander in chief and I don't agree with him. Could you imagine sitting down when Barack Obama was president saying the exact same thing and acting the fool? These guys just don't know when to quit, Kelly wrote on his X account. Yep, and this is coming from Ground News and also Military Times. Defense Secretary Pete, no, it's not Defense Secretary. See, this is how evil the media is. It's the Department of War. Department of War Secretary, or you could just say War Secretary, take your pick. But if you're going to capitalize war or defense, then you have to also capitalize the S, I believe, if my English serves me correctly. War Secretary Pete Hegseth is appealing a federal judge's order that blocked punishing Democrat Senator Mark Kelly for urging troops to resist unlawful orders. What unlawful orders? We still don't know what the unlawful orders are because there aren't any. A judge ruled that Pentagon officers violated Kelly's free speech. No, we didn't. Kelly violated the Uniform Code of Military Justice as an honorably retired United States Navy captain. Hundreds of traps on board aircraft carriers. Command. He just didn't command fighter squadron or fighter wing. He commanded a space shuttle mission, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I'll eat it. But I think he actually commanded it. The other 5 co-conspirators in that video aren't subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, but we knew that. Mark Kelly is like the quintessential example of a terrible wingman, although you could use another adjective that we use in the military for that. And the beautiful thing about all this is, and I know that there's some Republican staffer kids out there who are chopping up the State of the Union right now, starting to generate commercials for the general election this fall, to say why it is going to be important to vote, why it is going to be critical that we get out there and elect conservatives. And remember this, ladies and gentlemen, please remember this. It's not enough just to elect a Republican. The Republicans in Mississippi are different than the Republicans in New York. So for the ones who are out of state acting a little wonky, cut them some slack, control what you can control, get involved in the 2nd Congressional District, get involved in the upcoming primary election. We need your help, especially in Hinds County. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our top of the hour break. We will be right back.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh?
Fire them up. That's what we do here at the 103.9 WYAB station here in Flora, Mississippi. We fire them up. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at WYAB.com, the mothership. So if you can't tune in to the station on our 50,000 watt blowtorch, hey, check out one of our streams. Like the stream, share the stream, let your friends and family know about it. Great turnout from outside the state. It's always neat to get those reports. It's really cool. Look, if you want to be part of the program today, we're talking about SCOTUS. We're gonna, or not SCOTUS. Well, we might talk about SCOTUS too, but we're talking about the State of the Union address. And if you want to be part of that discussion, the number is 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. But no matter whether you call in, text in, or just listening along, the mission at the Andrew Gosser Show stays the same. The mission is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. And again, this is just coming straight out of Isaiah. Your land is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. As for your fields, strangers are devouring them in front of you. It's desolation as overthrown by strangers. And that just seems to be what the main text push is coming in on the text line and from that lady that called is the immigration problem and how we've allowed it to fester. And the longer that it grows, the harder it's going to be to cure. And I agree with that thought, but there were some other thoughts too. Getting back to standing up, I genuinely believe this is going to be a major theme. And because I'm even getting some of my Democrat haters calling in saying, yep, this it bothered them. Because there's a certain innate American gene in most of us. There's some that it's just been completely worked out of them. They've been brainwashed and they're too far gone to ever realize it. But most of us do care and love for this country, and we care and love life. And it's one of those things that just kept on coming up through the speech was how the Democrats weren't standing up. And this is one of them that I thought was really powerful, at least to me.
But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would?
Yep. And I'm not sure why that's not coming through the system. I'll try it one more time. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, we'll just go down a different road. We'll try it one more time here.
But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we've been talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately.
I'm not sure if the audio is coming through there real well or not, but the president's talking about banning transgender surgeries. And, you know, the Republicans are standing up and clapping. The Democrats are sitting on their hands, not clapping. They've already banned it in Europe and in England. The New York Times has come out and said that this was a bad idea. You've got major medical associations now saying this wasn't a great idea, that we're actually not God. We actually don't know what the heck we're doing, but we're going to sell a lot of drugs and we're going to ruin a lot of young kids' lives by removing body parts from them and making a buck on it. And then giving them a bunch of medication and SSRIs to make them feel like they're normal when they're not. This is like the demons manifesting right in front of us, and we're not even talking about it. It's absolutely shocking to me. Let's finish this out here.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Even the Democrats are smiling. Even the Democrats are smiling. And seriously, what does that make you as a Democrat if you can't stand up to protect kids? And some of you have just heard the first little bit that I've leaked out there. Haven't talked about it yet. Not going to talk about it till the last segment of the show, because this is going to be the real test. But what is it like if you cannot protect kids from transgenderism? You know, in some states, if you as parents don't enable your kids to become transgender, they can take the kids away from you. Not in Mississippi, but in Colorado, they sure can. Man, if I was in Colorado and I was a parent, I'd be getting the heck out of there so quick. Not all the free pot in the world could do that. You have to roll a big spliff, fam. Nope, not gonna have it. Let's finish up this one right here.
Amazing. Governor. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
And what's really the worst part about this whole thing is that Democrats are actually applauding that. Like they're on the side of history there. They're actually excited to be mutilating kids. My goodness. Absolutely terrible. This was the other really big thing that I think is gonna cause a really big dust up inside the Congress, and it's basically the Pelosi law. This is the second most thing that's been texted to me since the radio show's been going about insider trading in Congress. And we know that there are that a lot of people have gotten really rich, including Ilhan Omar, from poverty from Somalia to 35 million in stock assets. Absolutely brutal.
As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
I just hope that Congressman Kelly, Congressman Guest, and Congressman Easel all co-sponsor that bill, and they are doing everything active and within their power to make that happen. I hope Benny Thompson is actually gonna co-sign that. That's a good piece of bipartisan legislation that we could all get behind, don't you think? Voter ID is a big one. You know, 89% of Americans between Democrats, Republicans, and independents approve of voter ID. But yet we can't get this done through Congress. Making very rich people, you're making very rich people, and you know what? You're buying them off, essentially. It's just a different hook. It's just a different hook. All the Republicans stand up. Oh, and look at this. Even some Democrats. Absolutely shocking. Sustained clapping. Wow.
They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here?
I had to leave that dig in on Pelosi. Normally, I don't like giving it to politicians. I am a recovering one after all, but after she pulled that stunt of ripping his speech up in Congress in 2018, she has a special place in my heart. She deserves everything that's gonna happen to her. I hope they investigate the snot out of her and her husband. We really can't expect much with this DOJ and FBI, but we can dream. Hey, maybe it falls under the FCC. Maybe they refer it and do all the investigative work. Maybe there's a special special prosecutor that looks into Congress in and of itself. And it's just not Nancy Pelosi, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget about Mitch McConnell. Oh, we can't forget about good old Mitch. He's dirty bird too. He's been there a long, long time. Senator Chuck Schumer, he'd be one to look at. All of them. Those are just the three that come off. Senator Lindsey Graham. Want to make this nonpartisan, bipartisan, however you want to look at it. Speaking of which, that was something that came across my timeline too. In all this illegal immigration that people continue to harp on, like I don't. There's only so much you can do with illegal immigration right now, other than to support ICE, let your local state reps, state senators, state electeds know that, hey, we like ICE. We want more ICE here. But besides that, and the voter ID, there's not too much we can do. I mean, we've talked about the SAVE Act, and Senator Hyde Smith, Senator Wicker both co-sponsored it, so it's sitting there in the Senate doing whatever it's going to do. Hopefully, it's not going to die. But we're going to take a little bit of an early break because when we get back, I want to really spend time on this bill called HR1. Have you heard of it? HR1, put forth by the Democrats in 2019. And remember what I told everybody about when they give the bill a name that's so good you really need to read it? This was the For the People Act. And this is one of those places where our representative republic was dangerously close to falling away, being taken away from us. And again, they just keep on slicing away at it, keep on trying to get in there. And the story behind this is absolutely uh, frightening when you think about the people who actually stopped it, because it did get out of the House. That's the great thing about the House. You get enough votes for it, it gets through. Senate's got a little bit different rules. And I know there's a lot of people who want to get rid of the filibuster. There's a lot of people who want to get rid of the filibuster. But this right here, was one of them that um, came dangerously close to losing our Senate, our representative republic. And we're going to talk about it on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
falling into tribalism, to where if you don't agree with the president, it's okay to be disrespectful to the country. It's okay to be disrespectful to the Constitution, and not to act to have civility. As a person that was a teacher, students.
Oh yeah, someone just sent me a clip right as we were coming out of commercial, and he said, "You gotta listen to this. This is, I have not heard it all. It is from Fox News, so I'm gonna take a broadcasting risk." Matt, hang on. Here we go. Not vetted. Here, 3, 2, 1.
Falling into tribalism, to where if you don't agree with the president, it's okay to be disrespectful to the country. It's okay to be disrespectful to the Constitution, and not to act to have civility. As a person that was a teacher, students would say things that other students didn't disagree with. I didn't say it was okay to just walk outside the classroom, because we expect a certain decorum and a certain level of class and civility that we all have as Americans. And what we're seeing now with the left is because they didn't get their way, even though Barack Obama deported as many people more than President Trump, even though he talked about tariffs. Now a lot of things that were common sense before, they disagree with because it's politically advantageous. They think it's okay to now scream and leave the room. And we're seeing a collapse of what we just consider civility in our country.
Wow. How eloquently spoken. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if this is like a group of Democrats, a group of Republicans. It is Fox News, so take it with a grain of salt. Maybe a good shake, maybe half the bag, depending on your saltiness. But he is correct. You don't like what someone's saying, you just storm off. I've watched this happen literally inside families. They cannot argue their point. They cannot articulate their point of view, and they get mad and they storm off. But I digress. Before I got sent this, and thank you, whoever sent that to me. I'll have to go back in my DMs and check. But did you know that we've tried to federalize our elections in the past? And what if you were against federalizing elections before you were for it? Because let's be truthful, in some instances, President Trump has said that we need to federalize elections. Places like Fulton County, Georgia, basically all the blue mega metropolises where the fraud is rampant. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. It's pretty bad. Scott Pressler, the guy who runs around registering people to vote all over Pennsylvania, arguably, not even arguably, credited, rightfully so, for flipping Pennsylvania from blue to red in 2024 and working in other states now, including New Jersey. Are you aware that your party, the Democrats, attempted to federalize our elections as the first bill in the House in 2019? This is what I was talking about before we went to break. This is H.R. 1 for the People Act. And for me personally, whenever I see voting bill names, like I'm not ashamed to say that I voted against the Clean Air Act, or it was actually it wasn't an act, it was a bill in the local county board of supervisors, because it was just stupid. I mean, Clean Water Act, actually, Clean Water Act. It was just stupid. We do things because we want to make our constituents think that we're doing something important. But listen to what this did. It expanded voter registration and voting access, including measures like automatic voter registration, online registration, same-day registration, and early voting requirements. This is the big one for me, because I come from Chicago, where they say vote early, vote often. You vote once in person and once from the grave. Limited removal of voters from the registration rolls to prevent improper purges. Isn't that the problem that we have in Hinds County? I'm not trying to hate on my Hinds County board electors, supervisors, whatever they're called. I'm not trying to hate on you, but I'm just letting you know we probably could go through a good scrubbing. Required states to establish an independent, nonpartisan redistricting commission to draw congressional districts and reduce partisan gerrymandering. Well, let's go look at New England and all those states up there that have anywhere from 30 to 47% Republicans population, and yet not one Republican representative. What a bunch of garbage. Directed sharing of intelligence information with state election officials. So basically, the thing that Trump's trying to do in Georgia to get the state information to the federal government so we can go and investigate that, the Democrats were for it, but now they're against it. See the difference? And do you see why I get so worried about things that are happening now? And I see the red team spiking the football, and I'm kind of glad, but I'm like, oh, you're not thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. Protected voter rolls from unauthorized changes. You mean like the thumb drives in Fulton County? In Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, where they immediately stopped the votes, and all of a sudden there was the spike, and we did nothing. Our news media did nothing. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. This passed, I mean, this goes on and on. Sharing of intelligence, protected voter rolls from unauthorized changes, supported states in securing election systems, developing a national strategy to protect U.S. democratic institutions. We're not a democracy. We're a republic. How about protecting our republic institutions? Republican institutions. Well, how would that go over? You see the duplicity here? Ethics reforms. I always wanted to be on the ethics committee in McHenry County. They said I wasn't ethical. I was the only one who didn't take the health care or any of the goodies that were given to us. I did take mileage to some of my committee meetings if they weren't at the county seat. That's true. But overall, all the goodies that I could have got, man, I think about it now. If I would have just played baseball, I'd be in a much different place financially than I am today. But I'm all right because I got my soul, and that's good. This ended up passing the Congress and went to the Senate. And it was going to pass the Senate, except that there was the filibuster rule. And because of the filibuster, it is the only reason that this Democrat control takeover of our federal elections did not happen. It was only by the filibuster. So when you hear someone like me complaining about, hey, don't break the filibuster, and I know all my Zoomy friends, Brother Blake, I hope you're listening, this is a reason why. There were 2 senators who had the stones, the cojones, the gravitas to stand up to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats to not let this pass. 2. And they were both Democrats, and they both paid the price. The first one you may know, and you would think like, yep, he's kind of a Fetterman type. Don't get me wrong, he's a Democrat, but he's a Fetterman type. Senator Joe Manchin, retired, West Virginia. He voted against Chuck Schumer to do that. So that would have put it at 50-50. That would have meant our illustrious vice president at the time, Mike Pence, could have came in and actually done something about it. But he didn't, because there was another senator from Arizona, Kirsten Sinema, who also filibustered it along with Joe, which meant it was 49-49, and it didn't go anywhere. Kirsten Sinema takes a lot of garbage, and a lot of her garbage she deserves. But in this case, the filibuster is protected, and we didn't get this national federalization of elections. So if you're a Republican and you were against For the People Act of 2019, are you also against President Trump and wanting to federalize some of these local elections? Are there other ways to do things than just always going to the nuclear option? I realize it. Proportionality sucks. I do not agree with it. Sometimes you only need a 500 or a 500-pound laser guided bomb, but you just want to drop the 5,000-pound bunker buster because it just makes you feel good, and I get it. Sometimes just blowing it all up and starting from scratch is the way to go. I suggest with our U.S. Constitution and our election laws that to the max extent possible, we don't mess with the Constitution. We don't change it. We keep it like it is. We keep the Senate tradition of the filibuster. I know it's frustrating to some to hear, but this is why. We wouldn't even be here today if Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin would have flipped that. It would have given Democrats control over the entire election system all across the United States. Didn't matter whether you're a red state or a blue state. We do need to purge our voter rolls, especially in places in blue counties. I'm just going to be truthful with you. It is next to impossible to get the purge done because our election commissioners are the one who have the ultimate authority in Mississippi. In Illinois, it's the Secretary of State's office, and good luck getting the Democrats to take off all their dead voters. We had one statewide elected official in Illinois, Judy Barpatoko, I think was her name, or Tika. I could never pronounce her name. She was a chain smoker. Oh my goodness, she was a delightful woman. And I always asked her, I was like, Miss Judy, how did you get elected? And she looked at me dead in the eyes, like combat serious, like we're in the middle of the soup outside of Kabul. And she looks at me and she goes, I know where all the bodies are buried, Andrew. And I was like, okay, yeah. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show, 1039 WYAB. Moving and grooving on a Wednesday, day after the State of the Union address. You know, it's okay if our side does something, but if the other side's going to do it, then we got to be against it. That's what I'm hearing. Some of the texts coming in kind of upset with me. And look, we got to be intellectually honest. Do I think the Republicans would do a much better job controlling the election than the Democrats? Yes. Do I see the other side of the coin? Yes. Some of you want to look at the other side of the coin and just dust it aside and push it aside. Imagine if Sinema and Manchin would have voted to end the filibuster on that voter education, voter right act, the We the People bill. First of all, let's just be truthful. Most of you Republicans listening wouldn't even know what We the People bill was, and you would have heard the title of it and been like, I'm for it. Let's just be honest with each other. There are some of you out there who would have known, especially you Tea Party types. Hard to get by you. But there's just so much coming out from this State of the Union address. And I know I didn't talk about everything. Don't need to. There's so much information out there, so many other hot takes. But let me use this headline coming in from the New York Times. Lawrence Summers to resign from Harvard as university reviews Epstein ties. Yes. What wasn't mentioned in the State of the Union address? And this is the big gamble that President Trump and the Republicans are going to take with the upcoming elections. And I'll just give you the brief summary here. On Wednesday, Harvard announced that Larry Summers will step down from his remaining academic roles at the end of the academic year to remain on leave without returning or teaching or advising. So not only is he's not coming back, it looks like he's going to get a paycheck, but please don't look at us anymore. We're having him step down. And forgive me for being the one guy who just won't let this go. But I feel like I'm one of the few Republicans out there who are just saying, look, you can't just brush this aside. You just cannot let this go. It's got its roots into everything. The Department of Justice, the FBI, the FCC, Department of Labor, the Treasury Department, Harvard, Christian daycares. I mean, our pictures. To think that these sick freaks have my first grade picture in a database somewhere that someone could have ordered me up off a menu. My goodness gracious, lovable me. That was my big pull from the State of the Union address. And there's all sorts of stuff going around now talking about how we're getting ready to go to war with Iran. We're getting ready to go potentially back into Mexico and do some more work with them. U.S. South Korea to start large-scale joint military exercise March 9th. Am I missing it here? Do I feel like this was just another distraction from focusing on what's really breaking apart humanity? Because I feel that way. I know a lot of you feel that way. And yep, there goes. And that's coming in too quick for me to even read it all. But it's just what I see. CIA posts Farsi video urging Iranians to contact the CIA securely. Looks like something's going to happen over there. Got a couple of aircraft carrier battle groups. State of the Union. Mexico, Venezuela. We talked about it yesterday. The California Highway Patrolman who crashed his car high on fentanyl. Everything but the DOJ indictment counter, which is at 1, but I would argue that it should be brought back down to 0 because that's Prince Andrew. That's nobody here in America. All right, I'll stop. Bill Gates admits to affairs with Russian women, apologized to staff. Wait, I can't forget this. On Tuesday, February 25th, 2026. Tuesday, February 25th. Yeah, that's today. Tuesday, my goodness, I thought today was Wednesday. My goodness. On Tuesday, February 25th, 2026, Bill Gates apologized to the Gates Foundation staff at a town hall and said he took responsibility for his actions for banging all those Russian chess players, calling it a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein. Yeah, you weren't thinking that back in 2005 and 2006. Why are these people calling it a big mistake only after they get caught? Why do they have to get caught? Why did you give your wife a bunch of STDs and then try to sneak her antibiotics? That's what we want to know. After the DOJ's release of the Epstein files last month, Gates said that he met Epstein in 2011 and continued through 2014 despite concerns from his then wife. So he didn't meet her back in the early 2000s, meet him in the early 2000s. He just met him for 3 years and banged all those Russian chess players. It is what it is. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Bill Gates admitted to 2 extramarital affairs with Russian women, and DOJ files now show Epstein learned of them via some Russian dude. I'm not even going to try to say his name, Nikolic. Gates' then science advisor, including July 18th, 2013 draft emails. So they didn't even find his emails. They went into his drafts. How many of you would panic if they went into your browser history right now? Not within the last 5 years. Go back maybe 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Go back, not into the emails that you sent, but the draft emails. How many of you are like stressing right now thinking about, man, where are all my old hard drives? Where's all that stuff that I used to be? I used to be a different creature. Now I'm a new creature. Some things you can get away from, but something like this, you can't. Gates said his association helped Epstein varnish his reputation and said that the relationship cast a cloud over the foundation's work, which is very reputation sensitive. You know, the Bill Gates Foundation that's immunizing all these kids, and childbirth rates are going down all around the world wherever they go. I got this article here. The Sweet Bee sent it to me the other day, and this is about the best way I can tie it in. Anthony Fauci was denied a visa to visit the European Union for a conference on infectious diseases in Brussels. We cannot guarantee Dr. Fauci's safety if he comes here, said EU Foreign Minister Joseph Barrone. He's wanted in several friendly countries for mass murder. And I don't know if this is real or not. But I'll tell you what, when I get sent this by people who I trust and love, we've got to realize that our government has been a part of, and it's all tied together. Wouldn't it be something if Fauci was in the Epstein files? Would we go after him harder then? You know, the show that came on before me, Mike was really complaining about our food security. And I know this is like the rapid fire session here. But Mississippi Free Press always is good for a laugh and just to show you the bias of who they are. Americans who can't afford beef have so many proteins to choose from, says U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. That sounds pretty hateful, but it's not Cindy Hyde-Smith who's wanting us to eat bugs. That's Bill Gates. Cindy Hyde-Smith is all about Mississippi beef. She's all about Mississippi chicken. I don't know if she's about lamb. Maybe have to get her hooked up with some. Let's see if we can take a phone call here at the end of the show. Hey, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Chris with Advantage Business Systems. How are you doing today?
Oh, I just want to let you know before we go any further, you're on the air, about 50,000 watt radio station. What's going on, my man?
Hey, I was just trying to see where you all stand with your copiers and printers for your business.
Oh,
My apologies.
it's all good. I
if I
think
have the wrong.
yeah, I think you got kind of led on a trick by one of our blusterous listeners. I appreciate it, man. I hope you have a blessed day.
You as well.
Yep. That was funny. That was good. It's like the Democrats do that to us all the time, and I could get mad about it and throw my toys out of the prem and get all frustrated like Tottenham Hotspur, or we can just do it like we did. And cheers to that fella. I hope he gets some good calls in today. I hope he makes a good dollar or two. That's all right. Well, let's take a break because the last segment today is a very special day, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. And welcome back to the final segment of the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Where does the time go? It goes by so fast. I still have like 4 clips from President Trump, different topics that he talked about. But this is a very special day, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't have quite the right music, so we're just going to use the Sweet Bee appreciation music for this. So we're going to click that one up right there. Because you see, 30 years ago today, the USS America CV-66 pulled in to Pier 11 at Naval Station Norfolk for the last time. It was her final cruise. America's flagship, Carrier Air Wing 1, VF-102, Mighty Diamondbacks. For the last 5 years, I deployed 3 times on that ship. F-14As, F-14Bs, F-14B upgrades. Got to do multiple deployments, multiple detachments off of that ship. Great stories. But today was my last cruise as an enlisted man in the United States Navy. Now, I still have my shore duty to go to. I still had a lot to do there. Namtre, Grudette, Oceana, if you know, you know. Greatest shore duty on earth. Highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. But I was coming home from this cruise, and I was there to see my wife, Tiffany. Not the Sweet Bee. I'm divorced. Everybody knows that. But I was waiting to see Tiff because she was pregnant. She was 9 months pregnant. And I'm sitting there looking around, and all I'm thinking is, oh, my God, please don't leave me standing here at the pier. Because you see it, man, coming home from a cruise, and the guy gets a letter from Jody. All the military guys know who Jody is. And next thing you know, my friend from Illinois, Ginger is there. And she said, Andy, what you doing? I'm like, I'm looking for Tiff. I'm like, where is she? She's at the hospital. She won't have the baby until you get there. Wouldn't you know? She held on. And today is my senior political advisor's 30th birthday. Andrew, it's your birthday, man. I love you so much. I really appreciate all that you did this past week. No, it was your birthday, yet you set up this whole trip for your old man to cruise up to Wisconsin to hang out, go to the train show. The train show is lit, ladies and gentlemen. It was so great to hang out with my son, Andrew, my son, Austin, my son, Noah, my daughter-in-law, Rachel, my granddaughter, Caroline, Miss Adriana, I can't forget you. It was great to see my mom. Great to see my 2 sisters, Daphne and Megan, my brothers-in-laws, Jeff and John. Fletcher, you're growing way too fast. But it was my son, Andrew, who put this all together. And today is his birthday, everybody. 30 years old. Where the heck did the time go, son? My goodness. And look, Andrew has been a model son. Like, he's the son you all want. He really is. He does everything right by the books. Which begs the question, Andrew, how in the hell did you end up a Manchester City fan? I did all the right things. I got you going down the Arsenal path. It was all supposed to be good to go. And then you're sitting there trolling me during the Arsenal game. You got Caroline doing the City chant. What's going on? What's going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you for allowing me to honor and recognize my son on his birthday. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. I hope you see the positive things in life, not necessarily all the negative garbage that the mainstream media wants you to get pulled into. Don't do it. Be happy, everybody. Till then, be blessed.